What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. We back here in Australia. 6 political differences between Australia and America. I don't like to get too much into political stuff, especially when it comes to politics in the States. But especially discussion with people, like it's a lot. It's a lot because everybody has their differences, and I don't know. I feel like when it comes to politics in America, it's like you can't even vote for somebody because somebody's going to have a problem with it. It's like, isn't it okay to, disagree and still be cool? But some people let that get the best of them. Friendships have been ruined because of this. But we're finna see these differences between Australia political system and America. So, yeah, I mean, you don't have to let me know how you feel when it comes to voting and all. I did check out the video to see how voting works in Australia, but you don't have to tell me who you're voting for and all those different things like that. But let's see. No conflict.
I guess the comforting notion here is that to the flat earthers, Australia doesn't even exist.
That's an interesting intro right there.
Hi, my name is Sydney.
Shout out to
Welcome
Sydney.
back to my channel. I get asked all the time about the differences between America and Australia, particularly in relation to political and social attitudes. It's actually kind of disconcerting how many people don't know things about us, like where we are in the world and that our seasons are opposite to the United States. I don't know, maybe the flat earthers are right and we don't really exist. Needless to say, let's have an education session about my tiny, but also not so tiny, island nation. Before I get into this, it's probably worth saying that people have a tendency to overstate the similarities between the two countries.
Okay.
Like, really overstate. It's like we're distant cousins. We're sort of same, but different. What's super interesting to me is that the Inglehart-Welzel cultural map, which is based on data from the 2010 World Values Survey, places Australia the farthest away from America in relation to other English-speaking countries when you take into consideration our different value systems. It seems that the fundamental difference in the values comes down to the emphasis on a secular rational value system in Australia and an emphasis on the traditional value system in the United States. This is not my opinion, it's according to this data and this map, so don't yell at me.
Right, it's like we got the proven fact. Somebody's probably still. I can go to the comments right now. Somebody's probably still said something, and she just said, "Hey, this is according to."
Needless to say, apparently everyone likes lists these days, and who wouldn't? I love it when numbers are numbered. So let me just reel off some pretty major differences that I can see between America and Australia politically.
You come from a land down.
Definitely a
First
difference
is
right
religion.
there.
Weirdly enough. My darling grandma, who is a hardcore Catholic, once referred to Australia as a godless nation. It wasn't very nice, but I don't hold it against her. But honestly, objectively, Australia really does not have a very strong religious base. While a lot of people probably identify as some sort of Catholic or Christian denomination, the reality is that your average person isn't practicing. Despite the fact that we do have Judeo-Christian roots, just over 52% of the population identify...
Let me say, so religion, non-religion, Catholic. Okay, yeah. I mean, I feel like, we have choices, and that's what matters. Everybody have a choice and stuff. Me personally... Like, I go to church and stuff, but I believe in relationship over religion because sometimes what religion teaches, people can make it their own. You really got to have a relationship, and whatever high power you believe in, that's up to you, I ain't here to preach to y'all or nothing, but that's just what I believe. Why y'all think, I don't push my beliefs on nobody. I'm doing reaction videos, but I do understand that I see when it comes to Australia and probably pretty much Europe, nobody... And that's okay. I care about if you respect me and being nice and showing love to me. That's what I care about. So, but even deeper than that, that's what I try to demonstrate. So if you're not demonstrating that, that's the difference maker right there, because some people are rude
some
for no
denomination
reason.
Of Catholic or Christian, whereas 30% of the population identify with no religion. If you compare this to America, over 70% of the American population identifies as some denomination of Catholic or Christian.
Hold up. 70%, that's high. That's surprising. To me, that's surprising to me too. Probably, I don't know. Everybody I come into, I guess you really got to know. I know a lot. I'll be knowing, but yeah, that's surprised Catholic at 20. I don't even know. I ain't gonna lie. I know what Catholic is, Christian, Mormon, and a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know the other one. Historically black Protestant. What is that? Isn't that like Black Lives Matter or something?
So according to everyone else, we are godless and we don't exist. Love it. Anyway, observationally, I would say that this means that Australians don't have a very strong traditional religious conservative bent on their viewpoints. A really simple example of this that comes to mind, and you guys are gonna laugh, is swearing. If you come to Australia, you will hear so much swearing.
For sure.
It is exceedingly common to hear this on television and radio.
And I just hear it on videos. And some of my videos got like I got in trouble with YouTube for some of the videos.
The speaker heads and personalities who are on these various shows. It doesn't really get bleeped out. It doesn't get bleeped out, I don't think. I don't think I've ever heard swearing be bleeped out here.
On the issue of the carbon tax, she's Australia's biggest artist.
Full of Thank you.
What a bunch of gutless pricks they are.
And people aren't super offended if they hear you say.
And I know she had to bleep it out because of this video on YouTube. YouTube is like, they're being tough nowadays. Like, you can't even, I don't even think, you got to bleep out every cuss word now.
A naughty word. It's basically just part of our DNA. And I know now that the comments section is going to be filled with Australians using the C word and explaining how it's a
I was finna say it
that you use to describe a friend, which is a thing. Yes. Number 2 is Australians have to vote. Voting in Australia is compulsory, meaning that you must vote in your state and federal elections. And if you don't, well, you are getting a nice fine in the post. Yes, the government will take your money if you don't vote for them. I kind of made that sound like we have some sort of dictator or like government that never leaves.
Everything.
We don't. They just like to fine us for everything. Anyway, in our last federal election, 95% of eligible Australians voted. In America, on the other hand, voting is not compulsory. In the 2016 federal election, only 135.7 million people voted. That's a little less than half the total population. I'm just thinking that if America fined people for not voting, I mean, they'd make a killing out of it, but I think that people would also say that it's racist.
They're gonna say that for sure. But if you find people, they're going to vote for sure. I say this all the time because now in schools we used to have this thing called truancy. There's this thing called truancy, like when a kid if they just stop coming to school for a certain amount of days in a row. They have this thing called truancy where the police get involved trying to see why the kid is not in school. So, by law, the kid have to be in school. I don't know how it is in Australia or not, but here I can say Texas. I'm gonna just say Texas. I don't know. Every state is different here in the States, but here in Texas, you have to go to school. Kids have to go to school, and truancy comes into play. And nowadays, truancy ain't that much. I kid you not. If you tell somebody they will get fined, I promise you people will do better. People will do better. People will actually do something. But no, here in the States, we talk about this freedom, but some people are taking advantage and just doing what they want. Like, I'm telling you, like, it gotta be some type of rules in place for people to do certain things. But truancy, school, I remember when I worked, we had a kid, he missed too many days. And we parents wonder, and teachers, everybody wonder what's going on? Why the kid truancy? But I'm telling you, put that fine on somebody, people going to pay. They're going to participate. Police, you get pulled over, you either get you get that ticket, you either got to pay that fine or go to defensive driving. Defensive driving is basically going online, and it's like this 9 to 10 hour course that you got to complete if you don't want to pay that fine. Kid you not, more people would rather do defensive driving than pay the fine. I know I did. And I said I'm never getting a ticket again. I can't say never, but I don't want to.
But I think that people would also say that it's racist. Because that's where America is right now. That's racist!
Everything is racist,
Australia
it seems.
doesn't have a Bill of Rights. You heard that right, folks. Australia does not have a Bill of Rights or any real piece of specific legislation that protects our freedoms. In our Constitution, on the other hand, we do have 5 rights that are explicitly protected. Although they are super weird. I love that freedom of religion is one of our explicitly protected rights. Because, apparently Australia is not a godless nation. America, on the other hand, has an actual piece of legislation, their Bill of Rights, that protects their rights. All of them. Or at least most of them. These rights are very clearly stated, they are very important to Americans, and they're most often upheld by the court system. But I think the difference between Americans and Australians really comes down to the way that we conceptualize our rights and freedoms. Granted, through all of this, parts of this could just be my perspective, and I'm sure there are Aussies who would disagree with me, but it seems as though Australians are quite happy to give up their freedoms for a sense of perceived security. America, on the other hand, seems to be a society that is built around the individual and individual freedoms, and because they are so skeptical of the government and authority, it seems like as soon as their rights are trampled on in any small or significant way, Americans get really, really mad.
People been going crazy. That's what it is. Call it what it is.
Mad, they revolt against the government. Number 4.
Crazy.
You guys knew that this was coming, let's be fair. Australia does not have a second amendment, which is kind of obvious considering I just told you that we don't have a Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
I've talked about this before in a number of other videos, but Australia does not have a Second Amendment equivalent. It means that our gun laws are fairly strict and pretty regulated. Super regulated.
Yeah.
Australia is really good at that regulation. The government's just like, haha, you're having fun? Let me regulate that. Just like their other rights and freedoms, it seems like Americans view gun ownership as a political issue and a natural right. Firearms in America seem to be a pretty significant symbol of freedom and independence and the opportunity to fight against government tyranny. No such ideology exists here.
That would be a crazy day if that ever comes. That would be it would be like a movie. But I just feel like, when it comes to guns, there's people that do it right. But like I said, it's one person that messed it up for everybody. And there's some people that went through the process, did it right. Boom, bam, there it is. But a lot of people mess it up.
Firearms in Australia are basically just seen as firearms. Most Australians don't own them, they don't use them, they don't view them as a means or a method of self-defense, and they definitely don't view them as a natural right. Your average Aussie has a tendency to view our firearm laws favorably, and most of the time they do see firearms as something that should only be used in specific situations. Yeah. Compared to the United States, where it's pretty un-American to question the right to bear arms. Australians are not like Americans at all towards firearms, especially in the sense that you get people that are like, I'll live in the bush. I'm gonna go down to the bayou and shoot me some gators.
Why she sounding country? I feel attacked. This sound like a very Texan accent right here.
I'll live in the bush.
Mississippi or something.
I'm gonna go down to the bayou and shoot me some gators. Oh, I love gators. I love eating them.
Yeah, that's definitely a southern accent.
On my wall.
Should have bought a gun instead of a beer, mate.
Moving along. Number 5. Patriotism. There's probably 3 days out of the year, not including sports matches, just by the way, where you will see Australians walking around in the Australian flag, wearing our national colours, green and gold. And that's it.
That's gold.
The main day you will see people do this is on the 26th of January, which is our Australia Day, which is like our 4th of July equivalent. Besides that, you will have a really, really hard time finding Australian flags on houses, government buildings,
American flags are
shops,
everywhere,
in restaurants, and so on and so forth. It's just not really a thing here to actively display your patriotism and nationalism for the country. American flags are honestly everywhere in the United States. They are all over buildings, all over houses, and people just seem very outwardly excited and outwardly proud to be an American citizen.
And I just seen a guy walking around Walmart with one in his backpack, just walking with a big flag in his backpack. I don't know what's going on with that.
It's almost un-American to not be super proud to be American. It's not that Australians aren't proud to be Australian and that they don't love being Australian. It's just that they're less inclined to show it. I found an article that said that 90% of Australians have pride in Australia, and yet I found other statistical data that said that only 34% of Australians think that our country is the best country in the world.
Wow.
That compares to 41% of Americans who believe that their country is the best country in the world. When I was younger and in primary school, we used to sing the national anthem every single Monday morning, but that's basically as far as it went. And in terms of pledging allegiance to things, Australians do not pledge allegiance to the country or the flag. It's just very uncommon to hear these concepts in this country. And if I'm perfectly honest, in Australia at the moment, if you refer to yourself as a patriot, it's kind of a dirty word. The media likes to paint people who call themselves as such as far-right or alt-right, or just generally paint them in a pretty negative light. When I was looking for facts and stats for this video, I found this, and it seemed pretty interesting to me. Where Americans generally swear allegiance to the flag or country, Australians swear allegiance to our mates. Mateship is far more important and sacred for Australians than patriotism.
And I feel like that's a good thing, because like I said, especially when it came to like elections, I seen people that were friends for pretty much majority of their life, all of a sudden friendships destroyed because of different views, patriotism, and all these different things. And I can say it's the world, I know, but it's mostly America. When it comes to this just divide, it's a big divide in the States. But people don't want to talk about that. This country is divided. And we know, together we stand and divided we fall. This nation is falling because we are so divided. And it seems like, and this is my opinion, it seems like segregation is creeping back up. That's just my opinion, because everybody got their own thing now again, Of course, we don't see no signs where it say whites only, blacks only type of sign, but you gotta start seeing things getting ready to segregate again, which is crazy because people fought hard, to end segregation and, and all those things like that, but I just feel like that's my opinion. I know some of y'all can be in the comments talking crazy, I'm gonna let you talk, but yeah, it's just divided here. And I don't think people realize that, that's why I like Australia, because you're as good as the next person. You're not above, you're not below. We're all equal. That's what equals mean. No matter how much money you make, no matter how many cars you got, how many houses, everybody is still equal. It matters. Character, kindness, love, those things matter and can take you a long way. But differences, just because we have differences, you shouldn't hate each other. Everybody's gonna have differences. What you agree on versus what I agree on, or what I believe, what you believe. I shouldn't hate you for what you believe, because that's what you believe. That's what you chose. In life, we have choices. You chose that. I didn't choose it for you. I shouldn't be mad at something that you decided to do. And you just see the world or the states are just divided. I haven't, I talked to a couple of y'all on here, but, until I get there, I don't know how it really is until I get there,
I know I've gotten a little bit off topic here, but I would say that this is a really, really interesting concept, and not one that I would necessarily disagree with, because mateship in Australia is definitely a cornerstone of this society, or at least it used to be in days gone by. In Australia, the concept is a little bit like, we love our bread, we love our butter, but most of all, we love each other. Whereas Americans are like, I own 45 million fireworks and I done gone show the gator. Ha ha, America.
America first.
Last but certainly not least, our attitude towards the military. It's fairly clear, even objectively, that Americans are aggressively, lovingly supportive of the military.
Aggressively?
It is, without question, a cornerstone of the country. It is something where most people will show respect to soldiers when they see them in the streets. They'll happily donate towards soldiers or the military.
Don't we have a big percentage of homeless soldiers or something like that? People that was in the military? Like, there's a lot of people in the military, like, it's a struggle for them.
What have you. And
I think we lead in that.
There's big respect that is shown towards the military in America. So my cousin took me to this hockey game in Colorado, and this soldier surprised his family. It was like a Star Wars themed night.
Oh, yeah, they do that. Those would be good, though.
Anyway,
I ain't gonna lie. I like
the
those.
soldier surprised his family, and I think he was dressed as Yoda. And then everyone cried, and I cried, and it was a beautiful, touching
It is.
moment.
Those do be good.
But that stuff does not happen in Australia.
I ain't gonna lie. That stuff would make you cry. You know, you see when the soldiers come home, because I can relate. My dad was in the military, you know, so growing up, he was always gone, stationed. He was even stationed in other. My dad, was he stationed? No, he was just stationed in another state, but he been to plenty of other countries because of the military. So, but it's one of those things when you see, you know, because they do be gone for a long periods of time.
I wouldn't say that people don't support the military, but I wouldn't say that the support looks the same as American support. Here, again, it's just not that overt. Today, the public's connection with the army is largely exercised through abstract or ceremonial means. Anzac Day continues to capture the public's imagination, as is demonstrated by the growing attendance at dawn services. This, however, has not translated into greater appreciation for the tasks and objectives of the institution. Australian society lacks an anchor by which to make sense of its own modern army. For context, Anzac means Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. These are the people who fought in Gallipoli, who fought in World War I and in World War II. The two major days that Australians will celebrate the soldiers is Anzac Day and Remembrance Day. And on these days, people will buy pins because they sell pins to raise money. People will go to these dawn services. They will be respectful. They will march in the marches that we have. But like I said, outside of that, we don't really talk about the military.
Yeah. And I think, you know, some places veterans get like 10-20% too. You know, you go out to eat, you're a veteran, get like 10-20%. You know, it's not just for the elderly. They appreciate veterans too. Friends of mine in the military
have told me that they don't tell people that they're in the armed forces because the reception is usually quite cold, or people just generally don't care. Like I said, people don't really thank them for their service, and there certainly aren't any perks of being in the military like there are in America, where there are a lot of discounts that soldiers can get, or even veterans can get when they've served or when they're currently serving in shops and restaurants and so on and so forth. I asked a very good friend of mine who's in the Navy what he thinks about all of this.
Hey, my dad was in the Navy.
I think overall people view the military fairly kindly, but apathetic, like who cares kind of thing. Anzac Day is very special for me, but most of the year I understand that the military doesn't really matter. We aren't Americans who are like, oh my god, the army saved us, oorah, and that's okay. Most Aussies appreciate the services, including fireys and ambos. So in Australia, we shorten everything, and fiery is a firefighter, and an ambo is an ambulance paramedic driver. I guess the way that Australians are towards the military is kind of like how my dad is. Like, he'll never tell you that he loves you and that he appreciates you, but if you want a cup of tea, he'll make it. And that wraps it up, friends. Obviously, I left out a ton of differences because no one wants me to make a 30-minute video talking about this. So if you would like reacted for almost 30 on this topic, please let me know because they're super fun to make. And I want to share a little bit of me with the rest of you. It's like mashing my worlds together, and I like that. Lastly, I just want to say that I am not saying one way or another that one country is better or worse in the way that they operate. They're just different. Yeah. As always, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just don't be rude about it. And I will see you guys next time. I guess.
Yeah, this was good. This was good. Yeah, the world. I'll say the world in total. It's every place is different. How we do. Sometimes as a United States, we can overdo things. I've been here long enough to see some things overdue and start realizing a lot of things. Since I've been learning about other countries, I have started realizing a lot of things. But everything is just different. like she said, veterans, we do have Veterans Day and stuff like that. And I respect veterans because, like I said, my dad was in the military. I have friends, family members. Like my sister is actually in Southeast Asia right now serving. So, but all in all, it's just one of those things where everywhere is just different. There's some good, there's some bad everywhere. It all depends. If you don't like the States, I'm just glad there are options out there. I just seen a TikTok. This woman, her lease was up, and she said, "I'm finna go to Thailand." And she's living in Thailand for the past month or so. So it's just one of those days where I feel like in America, we were limited because we thought the only place you can go were other states. But really, hey, you can go live in another country, especially without being in the military. Because most times in the military, you go on to another country most times, But that's all I have. Like I said, y'all can leave what your thoughts in the comments below. Like she said, don't be rude about it. I know some of you are gonna be saying, but that's you. That's all I have. Hit that subscribe button. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.